Talk a little bit about just this term reentry anxiety and what does it mean?
It refers to, this sense that the pandemic, or the message really, that the pandemic is over in the United States, or in most parts of the United States, or for most people, and we're getting guidelines on all of those different levels that we just talked about a few minutes ago, that we can, in essence, go back to normal. That we don't have the same restrictions that we had during the pandemic, and that there's less risk to people in contracting COVID-19. And so, for some people that feels wonderful. That feels like a celebration. It feels like a relief. And for other people that can create feelings of anxiety or trepidation or even depression and sadness, feeling confused, feeling like I'm not really sure where I stand, because the last year has been so difficult, something that none of us could really ever imagine, and now having to pivot back to the new normal. There have been so many iterations of this over the last year and a half. Which version? Right. It's very confusing to people.
Yeah.
Right. I've lost track.
Yeah.
And particularly for people who may have had a predisposition to anxiety before, or depression before, or traumatic stress, or like we've talked about, people who may have a medical condition that still puts them in a vulnerable position with their health. All of those things can create a certain level of anxiety. And I've heard too, there's sort of a future-oriented layer of like, how long will this last? Is this really over? I've heard people bring in the ideas of privilege into this. Well, it's over, quote unquote, for us, maybe in some parts of the United States, but not in the rest of the world. And so should I be more cautious so that I can have this sort of human focus, the social justice focus on the pandemic, and not just think about my own personal comfort? Like, oh, I really want to go have coffee with that friend, and I can. Should they be thinking about the impact on, the larger world, this sort of human community that we have, and how do we take care of each other, even if we're not in the same country? Because the pandemic is still very real for a lot of people in other parts of the world.